Man, listen, this is AvenueChat. This is another really awesome episode that I can't wait. I've been really excited about doing. This is my guy, my friend Grant Menzies, who is the owner of Puffin Stuff Vape Shop. Not even Vape Shop, Puffin. I'm gonna say Puffin Stuff Lifestyle Shop.
Thank you, sir. That's what I like to refer to.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Nacogdoches, Texas, man. And this guy, not only is he the owner of Puffin Stuff Lifestyle Shop, I call him, I don't even know that he would refer to him as this, I call him a pillar of the community. Whether he wants to identify the ways that he gives to the community or not, I think that he's shown a lot of effort within the last 4 years.
Yeah, we're on our fourth year. Yeah.
I think that he's shown a lot of effort in advocating for art and artists in Nacogdoches by giving several opportunities to show their work and several different platforms for them to show their work in live events and just promoting them in general at his store whenever they're not there, and having a gallery format set up, as well as just, let alone, man, just being like a co-host or a co-executor for other events that take place where you've been out, man. So I mean, I don't even know if you've seen all that, but Grant, dude,
I appreciate that. Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where I love art and I love artists, and the community they opened their arms to me very, very wide, and so it was very easy. I didn't even know what I was doing or impact that was happening. At the time I was just like, it's cool to get a bunch of artists together and us be able to vibe off each other, inspire each other, and push each other. Right. So that was real cool. I felt, just glad that I had the opportunity. Right. So yeah. Yeah, man. It's been a fun ride so far.
It's cool, man. I want to dive into when we met, dude, because I always like to start this thing off about the story of how me and the peer met.
Yeah.
Because I think that those stories are very interesting, just in general, just to add a narrative or a foundation or give some context to why you were sitting in the chair with me.
Right.
And why I'm sitting in the chair talking to you, right? So, man, I remember what was I doing? I think I was probably at home doing something, right? And I think I had seen Puff and Stuff's Lifestyle Shop, and at that time, I don't even know that it was a lifestyle shop. I just think it was called Puff and Stuff. You weren't even advertising it as being something that was a lifestyle thing or whatever, man. I think it was just Puff and Stuff shop, right?
I think, at that time, I don't think I was fully opened. I was on my way to opening,
Yeah, I think you just had an idea in a location, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't even think your location was really just, this is the thing that was an established thing. Right?
Yeah.
And then I do know that when we met for the first time after we talked over Facebook, because you had messaged me, you were like, hey man, listen, but what's this thing? Tell me about this drum thing that you do. Because at that point in time, Star Avenue CO was almost purely just hand drums, right?
Yeah.
In fact, sometimes it's hard for me to get away from the fact that, Star Avenue CO is hand drums. It's frustrating as hell. It sucks sometimes.
I don't want to be locked in that box.
You know what I mean? Yeah, man. But, but we had that dialogue, and you were just you seemed like you were so very intrigued by the hand drums and then my presence and what it was doing and the images that you had seen,
especially in East Texas. I've never seen anybody do drum circles in East Texas, so that was intriguing to me. I always see that in California, Oregon, places like that. So to see that here in East Texas, I was just like, I gotta see see what's up.
Yeah. So your editing was nice. I like that.
Yeah.
You learned from that first podcast we did, right? That was a mess, dude. It was so much fun though.
That was. I listened to it the other day and just listening to John. Oh man, I was just laughing.
I need to get him up here, but that dude never answers his phone.
Oh, easy.
Yeah. John's a mess, dude. I love that brother.
Yeah.
He's so cool.
He's passionate and he loves his circle.
Yeah.
Just mad love. You
know
what I mean?
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah. He's just like a guy that's always there, always supporting. Mm-hmm. He always got kind words to say to me.
Yeah.
Kind of picks me up at times where I'm just like, okay, that's why I'm doing all this.
Right. Okay, yeah, it's not in vain.
No.
Because I am doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. This is not the biggest deal in the world that I'm feeling this way right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, it is because it belongs to me, but at the same time, these are much bigger.
Much bigger.
You know
much
what I mean?
Bigger.
Yeah. But I remember, dude, after our dialogue, we had actually planned a day to meet. We were like, hey man, stop by the shop at this time. We'll figure it out, right? And we'll get it done. We'll meet, and And then this is when, you know, you and I have these conversations about our old faithful Liberty Bell that we miss greatly.
Yes.
You know, I wandered in Liberty Bell one night after work, right? And then I sat down by a dear friend of ours, mutual dear friend of ours, Miss Sheila.
Yep.
Right? And I sat down, and I don't even know that you had met Sheila yet at that point.
That was the first night I ever met her, or even, you know,
Yeah. And so I sat down, we were like on the corner, you were down here a little bit at the bar, and just painted the picture for everybody. And, you know, I don't remember if you had walked up to us, or, no, I think you had like nudged.
I was sitting, I was kind of sitting at the opposite side, and I looked over and I seen you, and I recognized you. Yeah. And that's when it was just like, because like you said, we've already corresponded and kind of, but so I just walked over there, introduced myself, and then after that, we talked for hours, you know what I mean? And,
Yeah, man. And then you were like, shoot, drop out of the shop like Saturday or something, or Friday. And I came by. And then I remember, man, it's always, sometimes it's funny, you and I having conversations for me, because it's like, yeah, but you do drug counseling. and Grant has a store called Puff and Stuff.
Yeah.
Is that not like a problem? And I'll be telling it, I say it to people sometimes, right? And I mention our dialogue and our dynamics in conversation. I'm like, yeah, but Grant does Puff and Stuff. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you're friends with him? I'm like, yeah, that's my brother.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like that. Like,
it's a mutual respect. You know, that's what comes first. It's like a thirst for knowledge on both sides, you know, of understanding each other's worlds. Yeah. And I think within that, we kind of understand our worlds even more by getting to know, you know, like what you go through and what your job entails and everything. And so,
I think you were even like, man, I don't even know if you're going to do this. And I'm like, but this is for the people. What you mean?
Right.
Like, it's not.
I always kind of want to warn people what you're about to get into. You're about to get into the ride, you know what I mean? So,
it's like nothing, man. Yeah, what do you mean?
And it was a beautiful event. Pulled it off, and it was the first event, and
it was the first.
Learned so much.
It was the first Puffapalooza before Puffapalooza was Puffapalooza.
Yeah, it was really. Yeah.
Nah, man, it was cool because we had we had drum circle. We had you doing glass blowing presentations, and allowing other people to blow glass with you, and then allowing them to have guidance in the process of them blowing glass, right? So they're just not doing it alone. We had Dr. Rainbow
doing his thing.
What's Dr. Rainbow? Quentin something.
Don't get me on him. He's got this monologue name.
His name is a monologue.
Yeah.
It's like this long.
Oh yeah. That's why Dr. Rainbow is much easier.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. And I think he prefers that too because of the confusion sometimes.
He does. Yeah. But we also, one of the things I was excited that we were doing as well is like just the live music, and like what you were doing was not only playing live music but having participation where the crowd could actually be a part of the show. You don't have that much, you know, that opportunity to do that. And that night, man, there was a lot of people that never played drums that actually got on the drums and got to let loose and kind of feel exactly what it is, you know. And then the live painting as well, because you don't get to see a lot of live painting, so to get to see these artists like actually start to create this work in front of you, I thought that was real cool as well, you know. It wasn't just displaying art, it was actually creating art for everybody, and to me that was my thing, man, is just, I just wanted some type of creativity to engage and not just for people to spectate. You know, I just, like, for me, creativity and spectatorship is just like dead. I want you to feel like you're part of the process. That's what I found so interesting, and just to see, like, especially the kids, get the kids on there and see their eyes and see, especially when they catch that rhythm. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's to me one of the best is when they're just like, because they're communicating. They're learning a language right now, and they're talking. And they're hearing this person talk.
Thanks for my shameless self-promotion drum talk. That's exactly what you said, dude.
You know, I can't help myself.
Just be doing it.
But no, it was a good time, good event, and we've had a lot of ones followed that. And each one I learned more about, and each one is like Yeah. So, and it'd be fun in the future. I've got a lot of ideas I want to do, and I want to try to do stuff away from Puff and Stuff, just because we're limited on area. And
because we did it just the parking lot.
Yeah, and that's fine, but I would like to take it to that next level and get like kind of a venue area. But that's in the future. So
It'd be fun.
Fun.
We'd be able to look at sponsorships or whatever to figure out what that looks like.
Yeah.
Another Puff and Stuff Startup collab.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I'm ready. Yeah. What I love about it the most is that like dynamic of I'm drug counselor and you're a Puff and Stuff, because it shows people that it doesn't matter. What only matters is the intent or the purpose of what the end goal is. It truly does not matter.
Well, that's where my lifestyle shop, I think, comes for, because we serve basically an alternative lifestyle with the vaping of helping people get off of cigarettes, with our CBD products and our kratom products that helps people with their pain, helps people with their anxiety, helps them get off of the medication that they're taking. And so within all of that things, we're offering people options to get relief without having to just solely depend on prescription medicine, which is a big problem in our country.
So, it is.
I think that's what I really enjoy. I mean, day in and day out, I get testimony and I talk to my customers about how this product saved their life, how this product helped them out so much in different ways. And it's just been, and I didn't even realize that when I was opening up the store. When I was opening up the store, I want to sell glass. I want to make glass and sell glass. That's my business.
You were minus glass.
Yeah. That's it. And so that was
minus
my
glass turned into Puff and Stuff.
And then Puff and Stuff turned into this whole other thing. And so, but I think that's been the most rewarding part of Puff and Stuff, is how many people that it's really gotten help from just the situation they were in at that time through the products that we sell. And so it's been fun that way.
So you bring up the intention of allowing people to replace like prescription pills and everything, right? And just go more of the holistic approach. Not shout out to Hooligan Counseling and Wellness, holistic approach. Letting us have this spot, this venue, you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's lovely right here.
Yeah.
It's got a nice vibe. Listen, man, if you guys haven't been to Hooligan Counseling and Wellness, come check it out and experience all the services that we offer. We got LPCs do some counseling here that are great. They're wonderful at what they do. We got massage therapy here. We got me doing drum talk and AvenueChats and other public speaking platforms.
Yoga? Y'all got yoga?
Yeah. Bar flow.
Yeah.
Bar flow. Man, listen. And there's steadily things being added to it. It's a really awesome hub. I'm going to call it a hub for the community to receive holistic experiences that give therapeutic.
Yeah, that's what attracted me when I came over to this place and just figuring out what y'all's vision was. It was just exactly what I believe in. I believe that if we can find a natural way to treat our ailments, and that is the first thing to do. Mother Nature was here long before prescription medicine.
A plant.
And all of
a plant.
That's it.
Eat a plant. It's okay. Yeah, man. Yeah. So, man, I gotta dive into COVID a little bit.
On COVID?
But I want to dive into COVID more along the lines of how we get through COVID, or how we got through COVID as creative people.
Yeah.
Because your shop gives opportunities for exploration or education of holistic approaches to deal with anxiety and depression, right? And some of those mental health issues or barriers, right?
Yeah.
So what you provide is some of the ways to create so that we can destroy those barriers, right? What did that look like for you personally? And then what did it look like for you to provide that at Puff and Stuff?
As far as with 2020 and everything, it was one of those where, just like everybody else, we started out where we were all kind of very worried, and we were all taking precautions. Once we were able to open back up, you just seen basically everybody looking for something for anxiety. Anxiety was through the roof.
So but you closed down for a little bit?
They made us close down for 30 days. And within those 30 days, basically we were shipping out to people. We were delivering to people. We were doing everything we could to make sure they had their products they needed, their CBD, the Kratom was mainly the main things that people really needed. And so, like we were working 3 times as hard for less the money, but we were in it, And so, with COVID, one thing it did personally for me is to look at my business model in a different way, and to make it more versatile and to make everything a little bit easier access. So that's how we set up like the pickup, the website, the delivery option, curbside, all of these things really helped me out. And plus, I think going into 2020, I was a little complacent because 2019 was such a good year. Right. I'm like, I got this, it's good. And then when it hit, it made me more, aware. So, through the bad times, I guess, you find a way to kind of shine through them, and so
So you open up an additional business, or?
Well, basically what we did was we opened up a delivery service, because they wouldn't let Puff and Stuff deliver. So we opened up another delivery service, which was a local delivery service. Okay. And then through that, so Puff and Stuff just worked with this delivery service, almost like opening up,
So you opened up like a UPS packing thing?
Pretty much. pretty much.
So you open up you open like a UPS or USPS or something like that?
Yeah. Pretty much,
Except your office space for his Puff and Stuff.
That was it. Yeah.
That's brilliant.
Yeah. So that worked out fine. It worked out good. And like I said, it gave me a lot of appreciation for just being able to be there for my customers, because the appreciation they had at those times when you delivered it and they're just like, thank you so much, boom, it made it worth it. It was cool.
Because I know, I looked at some of the thread at that point in time. People were, because I know you went from being deemed as an essential business to not being deemed an essential business. Right? And then seeing the customers underneath the threads of Puff and Stuff are like even non-related to some of those threads. They were like, man, listen, I need my CBD because without it, and yada yada. And some people go through mental problems that, like, they were on it.
They were.
Like, not even like, for one, just in support of you, but two, just in angry and anxiety because they needed CBD or they needed this or they needed Kratom, because it was at that point in time their healthy alternative to, or less than harmful alternative to, whatever substance they were escaping from.
Exactly. And anxiety was at an all-time high, and so basically if they didn't have this, they would end up probably turning and going to the liquor store or going to get, some prescription medicine or something, any of those.
Grandmother's cabinet, pill.
Yeah, and the way the state handled it, we've never been through a pandemic before, so it's kind of hard to to blame them, but it was just the time frame that hey, you can open and then boom, no, you're closed today, and there's no time to prepare. There's all of those things kind of go into. So it was kind of weird to have that happen, but you find that inner survivor in you, that inner fighter, where you're like, okay, what are my options? What can I do? How can I handle this? And so you just go after it, and it keeps. At that time, I needed it personally to keep me busy, so I wouldn't. So my anxiety wouldn't go through the roof with all of this,
Right? Yeah, man. I know. So I went through it a little bit with COVID, man. It was wild.
Yeah. It's wild. I swear, 2020 to me was almost like 2 or 3 years packed into 1 year.
Not the year of clear vision.
No,
it was
no.
2020 was almost the year of reaching into the bag to prepare for some clear vision.
Yeah. It was I know it was a bad year. It was definitely a bad year for a lot of people. The only thing I did out of this year or this last year was to use it to better myself, to make myself stronger mentally, and to be able to know that I can go through bad things and come out of it and keep a positive state of mind. That was the biggest thing, is to keep positive, keep optimistic, and just keep rolling with the punches. So it was, don't want to do it again, but don't want to do it again.
Yeah, I don't want to do it again either.
But
I definitely don't want to do it again. Heck no, man. So, then what's next?
What's next? Well, right now, I'm looking into getting a second location.
Okay.
I'm wanting to go kind of expand into East Texas. I'm thinking about going to Lufkin.
Okay.
Website, doing that deal, and those are my biggest things this year, is to get the website up to the point where I'm satisfied with it, to give my customers an option to buy it from the website. They can get it shipped to them if they're out of town, or they can even come pick it up and we'll have it ready. So you just walk in, boom, show me your ID, here's your order, boom. Mm-hmm. So, putting a lot of time and effort into that. And then the second location and expanding the brand. So that's my main focus right now, and with COVID, the events, we had our first event in Halloween, and it seemed to go very well. We were all safe, everybody had a good time, and it was one of those things where a lot of people were just glad to have something to get them out of the house and something to do, so that was real cool. And but yeah, that's about it, man. Maintain, keep the ship afloat.
It's a lot, though, man.
Yeah.
It is. It's a lot.
Yeah.
What I know you and I have talked a lot about COVID and family, and what kind of like how that forced the home to shift a little bit. As I know we talk about, or you speak about, what it looks like to take your kids to the office. Make sure they got their homework in. Make sure you're doing it with them. So somewhat being like, I'm tired of this now. I'm kind of ready for them to go back to school.
Right. Yeah, that whole shift was pretty. It's actually been a blessing. Me and my kids now, we have a relationship like we've never had. A real tight relationship. And at first it was difficult. You're starting a new program. You don't know how this thing works as far as homeschooling. We did the K-12. And so, not only K-12 being very foreign to us, but also K-12 program had a whole bunch of kids joining at the same time. So their systems were going down, links were getting broken, teachers were having a hard time responding in a time-oriented manner. So, but, started out rough, and then at the end of the semester, we were rolling and everything was good. And the one thing I do enjoy about it is I know exactly what my kids are doing. I know what projects they have going on, when something's due, what the grades are, and so you can kind of keep a close eye on that. And that's been very interesting. They're ready to go back to school, but it's just one of those things that we've just got to deal with right now, like I tell them, and we just got to make the most of it. And so, homeschooling them, running the business, and everything, it's been challenging, and my art has definitely taken the back burner to all of those. So
oh man,
I miss my therapy, and I'm hoping to get back into that this spring.
Okay. Speaking of your art, are you doing any of your art? How often do you do art? Tell me about your glass right now.
Yeah, with the glass, I hadn't got to get on the torch steady for 6 months, for the last 6 months. Okay. So I've just been basically looking over there at the studio going, oh, that's going to be nice when I get back on there. Right. But definitely I'm going to get back in there. And with glass blowing, glass blowing is what I've done for so long, and it is absolutely my therapy. Glass blowing takes a lot of focus. You got to block everything out. And you got to solely just focus on the project at hand, and so it really helps me in that aspect.
You have any of your stuff?
I do. Do you want me to go get it?
Sure.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
I should have already had it out, huh?
Yeah. Also, we're going to talk about, I think you brought something up to me one day. You talked about Egyptian culture and connectivity with Egyptian culture a little bit.
Yeah, that's basically, it goes into the history of glass. And glass started out as basically volcano glass that they would find, and then they would kind of shape into different things. They would make little pendants, jewelry out of it. They'd also make weaponry, arrowheads out of it. But then from there, like the Egyptians were kind of the first ones to add, they would add elements to it, like soda lime, to make it more malleable. And then from that point, they would build almost these type of furnaces where it kind of went into Bernoulli effect, where you had a big space to a small space, creating pressure. Wow. And so they would have these clay kind of almost like a mini volcano. And at the top, that's where they would actually melt the glass. So they fill the bottom up with hay, manure, all of these type of things, light that on fire, get really hot like coals, and then the hot air would come through this hole. And that would be actually how they melt the glass. And they would make vases and stuff like that, and how they would do it is they would basically build a clay mold. So the clay mold would be the shape of your vase, and then they would wrap the glass all around it, and kind of basically cold pot all of the glass. And then once it's cool, you knock out the clay, and then you've got this vase.
Right.
And it's one of those where it was such a unique, rare piece where if you had, a vase, you're a high prominent person. Right. That would be a very expensive item. But then from there, it traveled. It went to Italy. Italy was a spot that it really flourished, and they got really known for Italian glass because of they had an island, the island of Murano, and this is where all the glass blowers lived, worked. Nobody left, nobody came in, because they were trying to keep this thing secret. They were keeping all their techniques, all their knowledge secret. The only way you could become a glass blower is to be either like a real close family friend or a family member. And it would be passed down from generation to generation like that.
Also, if you weren't a fam, you couldn't.
None. And it's real cool. Like you can go to the beach on the island and just dig into the sand, and you're going to get beads and shards of glass, and centuries old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In Murano.
Yeah.
It's the only place.
That's the only place. Yeah. And then from there, glass kind of grew where during the scientific revolution, they had to create a glass that was hard, that could take the heat, but it was still clear, so you could see your substance, your chemicals doing whatever they need to do. That's when they introduced boron into it and had the borosilicate glass. A lot of people know about Pyrex, like your Pyrex cookware. And it's just a real stable, hard glass that can take a lot of heat.
Right.
And it's been so many different. Like they started out with. At first, you had people to create more fire. You had people actually like tubes, and they were like blowing into the flames to add the oxygen to create more flames. And then they built bellows where you can control it with your foot. So you'd have like a foot control that would be pressing air into a candle, basically.
Right.
And you're over there like doing this.
Right.
Then to like gas furnaces and all of that. So, and like me, I work with borosilicate, and that kind of got introduced in the art form in the 30s. You had scientific glass blowers that would just start melting and sculpting. I don't know if you ever seen like the carnival glass workers where they would make the little animals and stuff. They'd have like Six Flags and things like that. But that's how, like in the 30s, it got really big. And so it was kind of like every carnival and little event like that, they would have a little glass blower over there making little animals and stuff, And then from there, it moved around the late 80s to the 90s. Basically, the cannabis culture picked it up and figured out that pipes was a really nice thing to smoke out of. Before that, you would just have basically metal and wood pipes that kind of left a bad taste. And with glass, it didn't leave any kind of taste. And it was beautiful. And it was durable. So it was kind of a win-win situation, and it just attracted people. And when the pipe makers came into the scene, that's when you seen the glass scene just blow up. The color palette got huge. The techniques were incredible. At this time, the internet was kind of coming in, so we were being able to share with each other through the internet and share our techniques. And unlike the island of Murano, where they had this glass curtain kind of per se built where nobody could see their secrets, the pipe makers were the opposite. They would tell everybody, I learned this technique by this, try this out, and then try this out. And so we were all sharing together and building each other up, but also kind of competing. Mm-hmm. Like I would see somebody, post some fly stuff and I'm like, ooh, and it would get me inspired where I get into the shop and I'm trying to make some fly stuff too so I can post it, Yeah. And so, with all those elements kind of,
it's like old school hip hop.
Yeah. It's a lot like it. And like even to the point where like pipe makers were looked at in a fashion, because it was related to the cannabis culture, where, pipe makers were getting busted and they were, getting shut down. And so the pipe culture got pushed underground. But within being underground, it had a lot of flavor. Mm. Glass blowers would have nicknames, and you wouldn't even know what the people looked like. You would just know
the nickname.
Yeah, you would just know the nickname.
So the work would just be attached to the nickname.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
And another thing about that community being so close is you ended up having artists collab with each other, which is really cool because you would know this guy's style, you would know this person's style, and then to see a piece where they, just emerged it together. And you don't see a lot of artists like painters and stuff like that. Again, hip hop, you see a lot of collabs where two artists come together and create music, and that was a lot of with like the pipe scene. So
it's wild.
It was, and to experience it, where I remember when I first walked into a smoke shop, there wasn't hardly any glass whatsoever. You had all wooden, metal pipes, acrylic, that stuff. And around Texas, me and my brother really introduced a lot of smoke shops to glass. We were bringing them glass, going, hey, this is kind of the new thing. And to see it from that stage to walking into smoke shops and they got glass everywhere, and you've got art pieces that are $50,000 that somebody smokes weed out of, basically. And it's like, what is going on?
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
So what you got in the box, man? Show us the box.
All right, so this is basically...
Man, I've seen that on Facebook.
This was a piece, this is actually one of the last pieces that I made. And I made this going into October, but it's a sculptured piece, and it's a spoon, so you have your bowl here, you have your carb here, mouthpiece here, so this is how you use it, but then it has the zombie face to it. And sculptured work is mainly, that's my forte. I love sculpting, I love like just bringing out the face, bringing out the life in it, it's just a beautiful thing.
So what inspired this piece?
That piece, I was watching a lot of zombie movies. Yeah. That was basically it. I was watching a lot of zombie movies and just wanted to create something. I've always had a morbid kind of style like that. That's what I enjoy making, so and then
so we're watching Walking Dead.
I was watching a lot of Walking Dead.
And you watch Walking Dead?
I love Walking Well, the first 4 seasons, then they lose me, but now this piece is very special to me.
That's crazy.
This is a collab between me and my brother, and we don't do a lot of collabs, but this was one we did. It took us like 3 days to make this piece, and if you look at it, this was a piece of glass. This was a piece of glass. This was a piece of glass. Separate piece of glass that we all put together to make this whole piece. This is more of your pattern worked pieces, and so there's just different ways that you manipulate the patterns to bring out everything in it. So and this is an old school, what they call a double bubbler. And that's because you've got a down stem here and a down stem here. So your smoke's going to come through here, it's going to percolate through this end, then it's going to go up here, go back down, percolate some more, and then to the mouthpiece. So and Pattern work is very hard because with this, if I have a problem or like a flaw, I can kind of cover it up in ways. With that, if you have a pattern, if something happens or a crack happens and then it messes up the pattern, it's pretty much done. You got to start over. So it's very challenging, and just to get all the different detail and to bring it all out.
It's wild because this is a pattern, but then in between it, there's intricacies within there.
Yeah. Well, if you look, this was a piece of glass, a separate piece of glass. That was a separate piece of glass, and then the background was a separate piece of glass. So I joined that one into that one, and then you blow it on out, and And you see, man, it's just endless. The things that you could do, it's endless. You could just keep doing and building, and and then. This here is basically inspired by honey dripping, in the dab culture. This is really big. And so, you got your bees, you got your killer bee here with the skull. I got my gorilla, And this was a fun piece to make because this piece just came together. Right. It wasn't forced. Right. Everything was just beautiful on it. The whole journey was beautiful. When you have pieces like that, you got to appreciate it because they're very rare. Just for it to organically happen like that. So
that's crazy.
I enjoy it, man.
Those bees are awesome.
Thank you, brother.
I was gonna say those bees are killer.
They're killer. Yeah, man. Cool. It's like I said, it's one of those things where glass is it's a very beautiful media to work with. It requires a lot of attention, a lot of focus. You make one mistake, you're going to lose your piece. It's not one of those where, like with painting, you can make a couple of strokes, and if you're not feeling it, you put it up. This, you got to go all the way. You can't stop in between and go, nah, I don't want to do that anymore. Right. It's very hard to do that anyways. You can, but it's very hard. Right. So,
that's crazy.
And it's in a rush. When you get to the end and you got everything done and you're taking it off of the blow tube, and any minute now you could have a mistake and it could bust right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. I love it. It's exciting, sir. When you gonna get on the torch?
I don't know, man. I guess so.
Yeah.
Next time you do, but it won't be until.
I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm thinking about getting on it tonight, so. You gotta come over there and melt something.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can do it for sure.
It's everybody's got to try it at least one time.
Yeah.
But I got to warn you, it's very addicting.
It's okay.
The first book that I got, and this book was written in the 70s or 80s or something, but the first book that I got, the first monologue on it was basically glass is more addicting than crack cocaine or heroin, and that's exactly what it said. And I was like, wow, that's some addicting stuff.
So I gotta try.
Yeah. 20 years later, I'm like,
you still doing it? Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Sure.
So this year I would like to be able to concentrate a little bit more on my artwork and just enjoy that part of it, bring it back to the home front, of why I started this whole thing. I think that's important, So, and I've got all these artists around me that are creating all this beautiful artwork. It's like, man. Right. It's inspiring. It makes me, makes me want to get.
You got Enrique Monguia over there doing crazy things.
Yeah.
Music and pan flutes.
Yeah. And Brittany Holden, the work that she's been doing lately, and to see her where she's actually being able to make a living.
Yeah, man.
Off of her work.
It's wild, dude.
It's a beautiful thing. Dylan Graham.
Yeah, come on.
His work has excelled in the last year and a half to points where I don't even recognize it.
Yeah.
He's actually, that's what I was doing today, was he's going to do a mural on the shop. Well, we got that big blank space right there when you walk in, and so we were talking about we're thinking about doing like an Alice in Wonderland, but all the characters are going to be different icons that mean a lot into the counterculture, era. So like Tweedledum and Tweedledee be Cheech and Chong. Mm-hmm. We're thinking about making the Cheshire Cat Snoop Dogg, and just different things like that, different elements. So I'm very excited to see what he comes up with.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's what we're doing today. We moved all the water pipes out of the way.
He's the man for that job too.
Yeah, and you know, I've talked to a couple of different artists and almost sealed the deal with them, but you know, it came back, you know, just very organically in a conversation. He's been doing other smoke shops around and doing murals for them. So I was just like,
I remember when he did the one at Purple Haze, when Purple Haze was over there across the street from you.
And when you look at what, you know, he did there and what he's been doing, it's like I said, his work has excelled so much. Incredible. His tattoos, he's doing this clay shaping where it's just like, wow, kid's super talented. There's a lot of super talented people here, man. We're blessed in Nacogdoches with this small community of ultra talented artists. So
I can't wait, dude.
Mad inspiration, dog. You don't have to look far to get inspired around here.
You really don't.
No,
you really don't.
I think that's why a lot of people are attracted to Nacogdoches, including like Lufkin people. I meet a lot of people from Lufkin that come through and hang out in Nacogdoches just because
they don't stay in Lufkin, man.
No,
I mean, like, you know, I mean that's a conversation you and I have, because I work in Lufkin and I'm like, man, but Nac though, this has got it.
It's different, you know, and Lufkin, of course, got more to offer as far as, you know, food and entertainment, I guess.
I mean, not really even that. Because you dive into, like food trucks, man. I think food trucks I mean, granted, Lufkin has some good food trucks, but Nacogdoches, as far as food trucks, and then, you know, and then we just got the Rice Queen.
I went and ate there the other day, and guys, I recommend that.
The Rice Queen, I haven't been yet. I'm trying to go. And then that other spot over there that just opened up where the Crock Pot Annie's used to be at.
I'm not familiar with that.
Man, I gotta remember the name. We gotta get on it. There's a lot, man.
Well, and I like that because first food trucks were mainly barbecue.
Yeah.
Cool story.
Yeah.
But we got
shout out to Brendan's though. Brendan's is still.
Well, and you know, you've seen Brenda's going from a food truck to an actual brick and mortar store. You know, if it's and they're doing their thing. So they've done really good. But it's nice to see the versatile ones, the Shawleys, and you know, the Shawleys are so good, so good. Yeah, so I think, man, food trucks is definitely a really cool thing that's been happening in the last couple of years. So Senor Pete's, we had those at our last event, and
I had Senor Pete's over at Front Porch Distillery.
Yeah,
that's my spot.
What is that burger? It was like what is the burger that they have? It's like a
Front Porch?
No. It's Senor Pete's. It's like a stress reliever burger or something like that. They call it. It's a funny name, but man, I hear I didn't ever get to get one at the event because I'm always running around. But I heard that was a legendary status on the burger. So but no, that's basically it, man. We're gonna enjoy this next year. I mean, when it comes to 2020 and everything that's happened with the pandemic, I really can't think too far ahead. I really got to keep it in what I'm going to do today, because I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. I don't know what's going to happen.
You don't know if things are going to open up. You don't know if we're going to go back into lockdown. You don't know if you're just going to have to go back to keeping the deliveries.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
Anything could happen. Anything could happen. So I just take it day for day and try to make the most out of the day and enjoy it, and then from there, I'm really looking forward to when we get this thing under control and we can start really doing events and opening back up all the way and feeling safe to do so. I'm looking forward to that, and I think that when that does happen, everybody's going to have so much built up energy that it's really going to pop off. Because before 2020, before this pandemic hit, Nacogdoches was popping off. Big time.
Right.
Live music every weekend.
Right.
New bands coming from out of town to play here, and it was incredible to be a part of and to see the build up. Because when I first opened up the store, it didn't seem like it seemed like the live music was kind of dead around Nacogdoches, or it was just taking a kind of stale break or whatever.
Man.
And then it just ramped up quickly.
Real quick. Yeah, man. It happened real quickly.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to getting past this and start to do that again. I know a lot of musicians are too, because that's with my art, I can do my art, and that's it. But with musicians, need an audience. You know, you need an audience. If you don't have an audience, it's, you know.
Man, I think I can sit here and talk to you forever.
Yeah.
We might have to continue this comment. I might just talk about
part 2.
Before we wrap up, though, I have a couple questions and a quick statement.
Okay.
Lufkin, to me, Casey Sizemore back here from people there. Anyways, I'm from Lufkin. I come to Nacogdoches quite a lot. In school here, my wife teaches here, and I'm just always through here as a member of said art community. So when we talk about Lufkin, I think kind of taking that back for a second, Lufkin versus Nacogdoches. Lufkin likes to present itself as a real mom and pop type place, but they are not. They're a very corporate type place.
Yes.
So while you say they have a lot of entertainment, yes, you know, we have multiple theaters and we had every restaurant.
Nice theaters, though.
Those seats are comfortable. The seats are comfortable.
Lean back.
I'm not taking anything from them.
Yeah.
But what's special, you know, because they have everything, you know, all the major stuff in the city. Now, of course, in the city you'll find some other stuff, but the major points are there. They hit all the major points. So, but that leaves us with kind of a void. And it started to kind of change a little bit because we've got these mom and pops like the brewery, the winery, things like that have opened up in the last few years. And they're okay. I'm glad. They're more than okay. They're really good.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to diminish those people. I'm not going to sit here and toot Outback's horn, but I will praise those people that come in.
I'm a huge fan of the brewery.
They're very entrepreneur and they're moving forward. So Lufkin does have that, starting to make that shift, and I think it's been something that we've wanted for a long time. But there's also a lot of resistance, which is going to bleed into my question, one of my questions. But where Nacogdoches is, it's not quite so corporate. It's everybody here has this real entrepreneur mindset. They want to go out, build their own thing. They don't want to start a franchise. They want to start their own situation. And you know, it's been that way for a long time. Cotton Patch, for example, it originated here.
Right.
And there are others too. But that's the main one that comes to mind at the moment.
I didn't know that Cotton Patch originated here.
Cotton Patch.
I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, according to they have the Nacogdoches burger, and it says from the town they come from. And so I only get this from their menu. I have not fact verified this. Read their menu if you go to Cotton Patch. Anyways, no less, that's where I found it out, trying to order a cheeseburger. But anyways, now then on to my next two questions. The first one, I don't know if you want to answer this and I can edit it out, but given that Lufkin is that way and I'm from there, counterculture tends to get a lot of pushback. So as you're moving into a community, maybe it's not Lufkin but somewhere else, how do you plan to cope with that pushback?
Yeah, it's a good question. The main thing I do is, you know, I have a respectful business and I treat it that way, and I don't treat it like we're doing anything wrong. I believe that we're doing everything right. And so within that, it's one of those where I guess I normalize something that's abnormal, you know, and I try to just normalize it. And within that, even Nacogdoches at one time was very leery on having smoke shops in Nacogdoches, and you had to open them outside the city. But I mean, like I said, I've joined the Chamber of Commerce. I go to meetings. I go to other towns. I'm a part of this town, and so within that, you know, I think there's an acceptance that just happens, and that's one of the challenges that I look at Lufkin and I go, this would be a cool challenge to be able to bring a unique business like mine, and to bring it into Lufkin and to help with their art scene. And to help with maybe connecting with other Lufkin artists and promoting and doing events and doing kind of the same thing I did in Nacogdoches, but do it over there in Lufkin. And so, yeah, that's basically how I do it, man. I just do it like I'm not doing anything wrong, because I'm not. And yeah, it seems to work out. So
yeah. Okay. My final question. Do you do commissions like on your glass blowing? Is that something you've ever done or would do?
You know, I did that at one point in my career for about 5 minutes, and then I figured out that's not the way to go. Because if somebody pays me to make a certain piece and then I'm trapped into this kind of, I've got to make this piece. And a lot of times, you make the piece, you lose the piece, and you got to try to make the piece, or they're not really happy with the piece because they've got something in their head that they want you to create. So to me, as how I work, I'm better just creating whatever I'm passionate about, and if you like it, cool. And if you don't, cool.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, so commission never really, but I've had some really good commission jobs where people were like, dude, I want a piece of work, here's X amount of dollars, and make whatever you want to make. I just like your style. Okay.
Right.
Now I'm down with that, but when somebody tells me, I want this, and I want this, and I want this color, and I want it to be like this, that's kind of where I go now.
What if somebody threw a theme at you? Like Ninja Turtles. Go for it.
See, I don't like recreating other stuff, so I like recreating kind of my characters. There are some very talented glass artists that recreate, like there's a guy that does Ninja Turtles and they look just like the little Ninja Turtles, and it's phenomenal, but I'm more of I don't like to recreate other people's art. I like to create my own, but I've always been like that. But no knock on art, because to me, it's even harder to recreate another person's art, like a Ninja Turtle, because they're used to seeing the Ninja Turtle, and so when you make that piece, it's got to look like a Ninja Turtle, or it's going to look generic, or kind of, so that's even a harder challenge. But now, lately, last year and a half, I've been doing these special commission pieces where I take someone's, a loved one's ashes, and I actually fuse it into the glass. The main thing I've been making is pendants for you to wear. And so, and I've even had it where the family members got to roll the ashes into the glass, and be part of the process. And it's powerful, man. I mean, their grandfather or their father or their husband, and to have their ashes trapped in glass with some beautiful pattern work and some opals and all of this love, and to be able to just wear it right there, that's been one of the most awarding things that I've done as far as commission projects like that. And I want to continue to offer that to people, because I think it's just phenomenal to have the opportunity to do that. And the first time I did that was actually lost a Chihuahua, and I had her cremated. And that's what I did. I made my kids and me pendants, because I seen somebody do it on YouTube or wherever, and I was like, oh, you can do that. Oh, wow. And so I did it the first time with my dog's ashes, and then from there, I just had people reach out to me and was like, hey, can you do it with my ashes that I have, and so that's been really cool.
Wow.
But but no commissions, none of that.
Man. Well, hey, Grant, awesome. It's always a pleasure, man. Casey, thanks for your input and your questions. Also, thanks for always being the guy behind the camera and my trusted expertise. Right. This is Casey Muse Williams. This is Avenue Speak by Casey Muse. And be on the lookout for more Avenue Chats we got coming up soon. We got Ruby Woodard next week from Peacemakers. If you're familiar with her, she's phenomenal.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Dude, she's great. And we have an all-star lineup from photographers to painters to writers that do poetry. Man, we got a lot of people coming up too.
Sounds like 2021 is going to be big, baby.
There's some things going on.
I love it.
So there's a Patreon up to where you can view all of the video content. The Patreon is Avenue Speak. You can pay $5 a month and you can see everything that we got going on right now. Also, if you got Spotify or if you got Apple Play or Apple on the podcast, this will also be on the podcast platform through Anchor. So you can always go check that on the audio form, listen to it while you drive, work out, whatever. Thank you guys for being a part of the journey. See you soon.